All right, what's going on, everybody? We're here talking about boxing again, and holy shit, is this really about to happen? We have rumors that Canelo versus Jake Paul is really about to happen in May. Now, obviously, Jake Paul has been calling for this fight for a very long time. Everybody hasn't believed him for all this time, thinking he's crazy for even thinking about this fight, especially since he was doing it pretty early on. I remember him saying it like 2 or 3 years ago even. Now, this actually might become a reality for sure, because this could end up being just a tune-up fight for Canelo, because there is some sources saying that this could be true. This is very interesting, man. I know a lot of pro boxers were pissed at Jake for the Mike Tyson fight, so I wonder if that's a part of the motive why Canelo wants to fight Jake on purpose. And I'm sure he thinks he could just make easy work of Jake. Because if this fight is in the May, it will be before the fight in September versus Terrence Crawford, which is one of the biggest fights in boxing history, which will be a video on Friday, I'm sure. This is all crazy, but we're going to look at all of the situation. We're going to react to stuff, and then we're going to break down how the fight would go. Really would have to do a prediction for Canelo versus Jake Paul. This is ridiculous. Real quick, before I get into the video, 94% of you guys aren't subscribed. So if you like boxing, influencer boxing, or MMA content, I post 3 to 4 times a week on this channel. So make sure you subscribe. I appreciate you. Okay, so one of the first sources I've seen is Ariel Helwani. Obviously, most of you probably know him as a UFC analyst, journalist. But he has been more into pro boxing in the last couple of years, so you can trust his sources for the most part. You could be wrong about this, but we're just going to hear out what he has to say about this whole situation. Let's see what Mr. Helwani got to say. Fuck off, Steam.
There are some reports now coming out that Canelo-Jake Paul is a thing in May as well. Which, by the way, what a freaking year for Canelo Alvarez. Holy shit. Those are 2 gigantic paydays. And he's the one who coined the phrase payday, payday, payday. So these are 2 massive things. My question to you guys is, A, do you have an appetite for Jake Paul versus Canelo? And B, and don't laugh at me for saying this or for asking it.
Don't ask it.
Is it a risk?
Don't ask it.
Is it a risk?
Come on now. Let's not get ridiculous, Ariel.
You take that fight first, you slip.
We've seen this with who? With who? Yeah. With who? What's the comp for this? Give me a comp for.
I'll tell you right now.
Yeah.
They said that they were going to do Deontay Wilder. Deontay Wilder slips, right? They said they were going to do Deontay versus AJ. They said they were going to do Hrgovic versus AJ. Hrgovic loses to Dubois.
Which one of those was who? Who did he slip to?
Deontay Wilder lost to what's his name? To Joseph Parker.
Wilder was already one of the less technical boxers in history. He was just a power merchant, and Joseph Parker is probably one of the best heavyweights on the planet, and he's freakish for his size. So I don't know what the fuck that comparison is. This would not be a close fight, but it would be a spectacle. That's what I gotta say. So Ariel's tripping about, oh, is this a risk-reward thing? I don't know what he's talking about. I don't know, but I kind of wish he said more about, like, the sources and everything, but he just started yapping. But it does seem like he believes it's going to happen. Like, he's saying it like it's for sure thing that he's going to get his payday, and this fight's going to happen. But what do you mean, what if he slips before Crawford? Like, exactly. After fighting Jake Paul, he's going to face Terrence Crawford. We're talking 2 different echelons here, bro. And that's why this is borderline, like, not worth making. But at the same time, of course, we want to see Jake Paul versus a world elite boxer. He's been calling Canelo out for years, like I said before. And a lot of people want to see Jake get humbled. Me a little bit after the Mike Tyson fight. I was, for the most part, on Jake's fight before the Mike Tyson fight. But the Mike Tyson fight just gave me a bad taste in my mouth. He did hold back on Mike at the end of the fight, I believe. But still, I still don't believe that fight should have happened. And like I said, a lot of pro boxers took that fight personally, and Canelo might have been one of them. And if you like it or not, you got to admit this fight would be massive. You know how many people are going to tune in to see Jake Paul get humbled? Because let's be real about this matchup. Jake Paul has almost 0% chance to beat Canelo, because boxing is truly just a game of experience. And Canelo has been through the weaves and the trenches of the game, taken some losses. But one of the most interesting things about Canelo in his career is he probably improved most from his losses than anybody that I've seen in my life. After Canelo lost to Floyd Mayweather early in his career, he ended up developing incredible head movement from that loss. Canelo has amazing footwork and probably the best setup punching that I've seen in my life. The way they set up that body that left hook upstairs versus Berlanga, making it look like it was going to the body. Probably the nastiest setup shot that I've ever seen. Berlanga is a dog from not getting slept by that. And that is going to be the most drastic difference if this fight actually happens, is Canelo's experience to set up shots, experience to use his footwork to get out of range, because we know Jake Paul is a bit in the mud when he fights with his feet planted in the ground, which is why he has power, but it isn't the greatest at times, especially against a fight like Canelo. And Jake Paul can somewhat set up shots too. Obviously, the setup overhand right versus Tyron Woodley was nasty, and it got knockout of the year or something like that for a reason. And don't get me wrong, I rate Jake Paul's win against like Anderson Silva and even like Nate Diaz, because they are MMA fighters, but they are very skilled in boxing. People forget that Anderson Silva literally beat Julio Cesar Chavez Jr., which is one of the best boxers of his time. And Jake beat Anderson once the fight went on. Yeah, early in the fight, Anderson was doing very well against Jake, but as time went on, Jake Paul started landing combinations, dropping Anderson late in the fight, which ended up getting him the victory. But those fights with elite MMA strikers do not even come anywhere close to a comparison to him facing Canelo Alvarez. The closest thing that he got is the Tommy Fury fight, and as we know, he got outclassed that entire fight, only having moments, and that's it. And I'm not going to sit here and act like Jake Paul hasn't improved, but definitely not to an extent where he's going to take on Canelo when he hasn't even got get back versus Tommy yet. So yeah, this fight is a bit hard to believe that this is really going to happen, but I don't know, man. I've been seeing sources, and man, if Jake Paul even steps in the ring with Canelo at this point in his career and he doesn't wait till like Canelo is washed or anything, if he gets this fight now, it's not going to be good for him, but he got some balls, because Canelo could treat it like a spar. Technically, that would make it a bad fight, but at the same time, I just feel like Canelo might want to smoke Jake. He actually might want to do it. Now, how this fight goes, if it happens, realistically, it's going to be however Canelo wants. I know this, it can't be disrespectful towards Jake, because this is Canelo Alvarez we're talking about versus Jake Paul. Jake Paul has been great for no amateur background and what he's done in boxing. Amazing. He's done amazing, but nowhere close to the experience and time that Canelo has had in the sport. If I were to see this happen, if Canelo wants to go for it and get Jake out of there, I see him either faking that body left hook and going upstairs with a left hook that will hurt Jake, or Jake Paul throws those sloppy straights and overhands and gets caught by Canelo's nasty uppercut that has put people out in the past. But realistically, Canelo is probably going to toy with him in there, probably going to taunt a bit. I know it's not necessarily Canelo style, but at the same time, when he gets pissed off, he is a bit like out there and crazy. Actually, Canelo learning English has been one of the funniest things that I've seen in recent history. Because I remember back in the day, I forgot who said it, but somebody called him a motherfucker, and he didn't fully understand what that meant at the time. So he was literally about to fight him on stage for what he said. And now that's like one of his favorite things to say now that he knows English. I just think that's so funny. Canelo's probably one of the best mixes of being a great guy and being absolutely tapped at the same time. So him beating Jake would be satisfying for a lot of people. But I'm just not sure if he would 100% try to kill Jake. He would probably just try to outclass him the entire fight, if I were to guess. I don't even know if this would be a pro-sanctioned bout. I would hope so, because Jake will get a ton of shit if it was some sort of exhibition. I know there's a weight difference, but I think it's still a doable weight difference. I think this is the type of fight that Jake will go to like 185 for, even though he won't do it for the KSI fight. He would have to for Canelo, probably. So yeah, man, let me know what you guys think about this fight. Let me know if you think it actually happens. I'm for it. Canelo's going to do whatever he wants with Jake in there, but the build-up will be great. It'll be great views for the channel, so I'm for it. Like, Jake Paul's been calling for his fight the whole time. Let him have the fight. If he's genuinely able to go in there and get humbled in front of the whole world, I will respect that, to be honest. So yeah, man, like I said, let me know in the comments what you think about this fight and how you think Canelo would beat Jake, because let's be real, it's about 100% chance that Jake isn't going to win this fight, but hey, I'm here for it. I guess there's no better way to make people shut up about who you're fighting if you're fighting one of the best in the world. That shuts up that argument basically instantly, but probably won't work out, but it is what it is. Make sure you guys like the video, subscribe, turn on notifications so you don't miss any more posts. Like, all of that helps out because I'm still a small channel. Yeah, man, crazy world we live in. If I told you 5 to 8 years ago that Jake Paul might be fighting Canelo Alvarez for real, you would tell me that I'm stupid and I should probably get locked up for life for even thinking that. But Thank you guys for listening to me out like usual. God bless all of you. And peace out.